The House Select Committee on January 6th has found some interesting documents showing how the right, some on the right, intended to steal the 2020 election and how they were going to do it. Now, among the thousands of documents obtained, including records from state officials, investigators found forged certificates declaring Donald Trump the winner in states like Arizona, Michigan, and others, 4 states total. So now, wait, that actually didn't happen. There was no Trump victory in 2020 in Michigan and Arizona. So now, this is according to interviews conducted involving numerous witnesses, including the Democratic secretaries of state in both Michigan and Arizona. So now in Arizona, it's actually more interesting because what happened is that that this pro-Trump group was using the official Arizona seal in these documents to try to show that, oh no, this is a legitimate document that shows that Donald Trump had actually won the election here. When again, that wasn't the case. In Michigan, they tried a similar thing, but actually didn't use official state, the official state seal. So now, a spokesperson for the Arizona Secretary of State, Katie Hobbs, said that in an interview, they mostly discussed the election administration in Arizona, the 2020 elections, threats and harassment directed towards her office, and the Cyber Ninjas partisan ballot review. Now, Arizona had taken legal action against one of the pro-Trump Sovereign Citizens group, whose leader met with Rudy Giuliani in December 2020, by sending a cease and desist letter ordering them to stop using the state seal and referred the matter to the state attorney general. Hobbs wrote to one of the pro-Trump groups, quote, "By affixing the state seal to documents containing false and misleading information about the results of Arizona's November 3rd, 2020 general election, you undermine the confidence in our democratic institutions." So this group, again, I believe that this group was part of a propaganda campaign. So you create fake documents, in the case of Arizona, with an official seal, and present that as proof that Trump was the winner of the election. Oh, no, see, we have the documents right here. The state official documents that were hidden by the deep state. Obviously, the deep state or FBI or whatever fictional entity you want to put in there, or whoever you want to blame, insert here. And just say, well, this proves that the election was stolen by Joe Biden and the Democrats, obviously. So now here's the thing. I believe this coincides with the plan that Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro had dreamed up and shared with Donald Trump and others with their orbit. Okay? Now that called on propaganda showing that Trump had won, right? So they were going to go and they were going to do this 24-hour propaganda-thon after Mike Pence would refuse to certify the election. And of course, these 100 congressmen would also go back to their states. All of this were to be happening at the same time, that they were going to be doing audits and recounts. And this propaganda campaign would purport to show that, oh no, there was massive voter fraud and all this stuff that went on in the election and not secure, these states that are breaking their voting rules, and then the whole thing's a mess, and we should just, Donald Trump actually won the election, and we should just go with it, and just let him steal it. Now, obviously, of course, Mike Pence didn't play that part. He did certify the election. Most congressmen ended up certifying. The states had certified. They didn't send their electors back and switch them out with them who were the ones who were going to vote for Trump. And so none of that happened. But I think this was part of that propaganda campaign. And so this was a part of, well, look, we've got documentation here. And to convince people like, oh, well, if they've got documentation, I guess what are you going to do? I guess Trump won, right? And so, part of that too is to say that it's official, but it was hidden by the state. and it was hidden by the people who hated Donald Trump, like Democrats. Yeah, it's hidden by them. But again, this all hinged on Mike Pence. So, and again, thankfully that didn't happen. Now, that's not my speculation, of course, this entire situation. But again, that was their plan. That was openly admitted by Peter Navarro in his memoir. Now, the speculation is how these documents fit in. But again, the scenario that I laid out is eminently possible. But the existence of these documents also suggested to me that this was much more sophisticated as part of a plan to steal the 2020 election. You have other evidence as well that was shared here, and it's text messages. Yeah, text messages. Now, these were sent by Chief of Staff Mark Meadows that were attempts to pressure the secretaries of state in these 4 different states to overturn the election. Now, these are, again, states that were battleground states, very key states that Trump wanted to flip. Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and others, right? Arizona, of course, Georgia. Georgia actually is the one here. In fact, you had Mark Meadows sending this text to Brad Raffensperger. So that's the Georgia Secretary of State. Mr. Secretary, Mark Meadows here. If you could give me a brief call at your convenience, thank you. Meadows then texted Raffensperger a second time on the morning of December 5th. The first one was on November 19th, 2020, saying, you should call the White House switchboard to set up a call. Your voicemail is full. Now, there's more. A previously unreported email from one of Raffensperger's top aides, Jordan Fuchs, was also turned over to the committee. In it, Fuchs had responded to Meadows' December 22nd, 2020 trip to Georgia's Cobb County during the state's signature match audit. He emailed Meadows to clarify a few items about the rejection rate of absentee ballots, something that Trump and his allies had alleged was much lower than normal. So they're like, no, you're not rejecting enough ballots. You got to reject more ballots. In fact, you need to reject a specific number of ballots. Any guess on how many that would be? Well, enough ballots to make sure that he wins. And so now, Fuchs also included the text of a press release sent out by the Secretary of State's office a month beforehand with a more thorough explanation of how the state's office evaluated absentee ballots. So that's them. Now, you also had Lindsey Graham. Now, this is a little bit more damning. Now, Lindsey Graham, whose emails were included in the document dump, the big massive dumps. Now, that's between Lindsey Graham and Raffensperger's offices. That shows how a call previously reported between the two officials came about roughly 2 weeks after the 2020 election. Hope you are doing well. Senator Graham has requested a call with Secretary Raffensperger at his earliest convenience, a Graham staffer told 2 of the Raffensperger's top aides on November 12, 2020. The call between the 2 men ended with Graham indicating to Raffensperger that some ballots should be tossed out, the Georgia official said later. So toss the ballots. I don't care. I don't care for what reason. That was signature match, which we all, of course, I've talked about that before, how that's like basically ignores how people's signatures can change over time. And so, your signature's off just a little bit? Toss it, toss it, toss it. Interesting. I guess your signature wasn't 100% exact as it was last year or the last time that you might have voted. I guess we just have to get rid of it. Your ballot no longer counts. Toss it, toss it, toss it. And here's Lindsey Graham saying, let's toss a lot of them. Gee, I wonder who that would benefit. And by the way, it wasn't just Biden ballots that are subject to signature match, it's all ballots. So they also might have disenfranchised Trump supporters as well. Interesting. But again, they don't care. Now, finally, The state had also turned over a previously reported audio recording between Trump and Francis Watson. So now this was happened on December 23rd, 2020. So now Watson is the chief investigator for the Georgia Secretary of State's office. The brief call between Watson and an unidentified staffer. Now in the December 23rd call, Trump had urged Watson to find quote unquote dishonesty in the state's election results. So that's Donald Trump directly asking for, oh, we got to find dishonesty in our election. Dishonesty. Now, of course, anything that suggests that the Republicans, in this case, Donald Trump, had lost. Now, again, they don't mention any of the elections where Republicans had won. No, just the presidential race that he lost. Or to them, of course, allegedly lost, right? So understand that this is part of that gigantic pressure campaign. Again, Mark Meadows, Lindsey Graham, Jim Jordan as well, Donald Trump, a lot of these Republicans going in and trying to pressure the states to change the outcome of the election. And that's what's going on here. And by the way, that's what we know so far. Now, the full scope of the findings are not public knowledge. But again, here we have the pressure, the campaign, the propaganda to try to overturn an election, to steal an election for Republicans. And that's a fact. The very thing that they've been accusing the Democrats of doing, they themselves have actively done. So it's pure rejection. Understand that the Republican Party does not believe in any democracy at all. And that's unfortunately what we're faced with right now. You have a party that has completely rejected our form of government, a representative form of government, and is now trying to use absolutely just dirty tricks and pressure campaigns and propaganda to try to undermine representative democracy.